I studied Shakespeare's Hamlet so that you didn't have to. The play centers around Hamlet learning that his recently deceased father, the king, was murdered by his uncle, and the play opens on Hamlet's uncle, the new king, marrying his mother. Hamlet is, of course, extremely upset by this, and now Hamlet decides that he needs to avenge his father. And it all goes terribly wrong from there. So where does Ophelia fit into all of this? Well, she is the daughter of the new king's advisor, Polonius, the sister of Laertes who advances the action, and at least until the play starts, the love interest of Hamlet, Prince of Denmark. And she is a woman who has absolutely no agency over her life throughout the play and is portrayed as very passive and very accepting of the instructions that she is given. So when the play starts, her father Polonius and her brother Laertes are giving her instructions to avoid the advances of Hamlet because he's the prince, he's going to make a more advantageous marriage, and she definitely accepts their instructions. But she also pushes back to her brother a little bit in probably my favorite of her speeches throughout the whole play, where she tells him, you know, it's all well and good that you're telling me to be chaste, but you better do that as well, brother. If you are going to give out that advice, you better follow it. And Ophelia's role within Hamlet is really to advance the action and to be a pawn in these men's games against each other. Now, early in the play, Hamlet decides to feign madness. And so the king and Polonius, her father, decide that it must be because they've told Ophelia to reject Hamlet's advances. And so they tell her, oh, it isn't working, so you should try and accept him again. And then Hamlet, in turn, decides to completely mistreat Ophelia. Shortly after that, her father is killed by Hamlet, and according to the play, this sparks her descent into madness. And it's only when she is mad that she is able to really claim any agency at all. And she pushes back against all of the ways that women were supposed to act. She sings these really lewd songs, gives out a bunch of flowers that all have a lot of symbolism to them. And that soliloquy is really where we see the most of Ophelia in the play. The next we hear, Queen Gertrude comes in to tell her brother and the king that Ophelia has drowned, that she was up in a willow with a bunch of flowers in her madness. The branch broke, she fell into the river, and she just sort of floated away and drowned, surrounded by all of these flowers. And it's supposed to be very tragic and poetic and delicate. And then we next use Ophelia at her burial. Hamlet and her brother both declare how much they loved her and try and blame each other for her death. And really, these men didn't take care of her at all when she's alive. So how can you now say that you loved her now that she's dead? At least this is my take on it.